Climate change is not just about rising temperatures. It describes the slow heartbreak of the world out of balance. Due to the connected nature of our Earth, we now see more intense storms, longer droughts, frequent wildfires, and once stable weather patterns shifting. Climate change affects the air we breathe, the food we grow, and the stability of communities everywhere. However, climate change is not just about the environment. It is a personal narrative about people, choices, and the stories we carry. My name is Ashley, and I'm an early college student studying biological science at Montgomery College. When tasked to create this story, I felt unsure of where to start. As an early college student, I take full-time college classes while still in high school. At times, I am balancing between two worlds, one where I'm still navigating how the world works, and another where I'm expected to speak with the awareness and responsibility of an adult. Trying to tell the story of climate change felt like a burden. I kept thinking, who am I to talk about this global issue? I then realized that was exactly why I needed to speak. My generation will inherit the consequences of today's actions. We are living in a world with news feeds of natural disasters and unpredictable climate. I realized that waiting until I felt old enough or competent enough would be too late. So I decided to lean into the story. Luckily, I was not alone. We are the Spring 2025 Digital Storytelling Internship Cohort at Montgomery College. The story is our collective response to the global issue of climate change. Together, we chose to tell the story through people, through emotion, through voice. In a world reliant on digital media, digital storytelling serves as a compelling tool to humanize climate change. Through visuals, audio, and narrative, our purpose is to amplify the voices of those whose stories often go unheard. This is the story of telling the story, how each one of us, in our own voice, experience climate change in our everyday lives.
Hi, my name is Eva, and I am currently studying early education at Montgomery College. What I love about early education is how I am helping to shape, teach, and support children into becoming their own individuals. However, that's just the thing. I am not just teaching them, and I'm not just supporting them. I am preparing them for the real world. And the real world is getting ruined by the neglect of past generations. Climate change has always felt like this huge, scary monster that I am not well equipped to fight against. However, since sharing my stories through digital storytelling, I realized the strongest tool we all have, our voice. I want the next generation to live in a world that flourishes, but I know the world cannot and will not flourish on its own. Now a new part of my job, which I never really thought of before, is to teach children how to take care of the planet in ways that the past generation haven't. To use their voice to connect with others, to fight for a bigger cause. I want to teach them to care, and not out of fear, but with love. And maybe they can build something better from the pieces of the planet left behind.
My name is Ivan Dmitriev, and I'm a business major at Montgomery College. When I first got into business, I was drawn to the creativity, coming up with ideas, solving problems, and working with people. But the more I've learned, the more I've realized how deeply business and environment are connected. Climate change doesn't just impact the planet. It reshapes our lives, including how economies work and how businesses survive. When natural disasters strike, supply chains break, stores shut down, and entire communities struggle to recover. And that has a ripple effect across industries, from the food we eat to the tech we rely on. But instead of seeing that as a reason to panic, I see it as a reason to lead. Businesses have the power to drive change, whether it's through sustainable products, ethical decisions, or cleaner energy. There's a huge opportunity to build something better. That's what inspires me. I want to help to create a business world where success also means taking care of people and the planet. Digital storytelling reminds us why this matters. It connects the facts to real people's lives. It helps us imagine a future that's not just profitable, but sustainable and just. As students, we're not just learning, we're becoming. And I believe we can become leaders who can build a better future.
My name is Mina Robin, and I am an interior design major. I have a passion for learning about how designing a space can make a person feel, think, and act. Climate change often feels like a problem for governments, oil companies, or massive industries to solve. But what if I told you that interior design is a part of that picture too? From every lighting plan we create to every floor plan we draft, it all adds up. I used to think being a good designer meant keeping up with trends and creating beautiful spaces. But that beauty means nothing if it comes at the cost of our environment. We need to ask ourselves, are these choices even sustainable? Using non-renewable materials, excessive artificial lighting, or cheap disposable material might seem harmless, but they are quietly contributing to climate change. This realization not only made me think about how I design, but why I design. So what's the solution? It all starts with being intentional. We can choose eco-friendly materials, maximize natural light, and design for longevity rather than trends. Interior design is not only about how a space looks, but how it lives, by making sustainability a standard and not just a specialty.
Hi, my name is Galila Demise, and I'm an aerospace engineering major. When people hear aerospace engineering, they think of rocket, planes, and space exploration. And yeah, that's the part of it. But there's something bigger happening here. Our planet is changing, the oceans are rising, glaciers are shrinking, the world is warming and asking for help. Aerospace is one of the ways that we respond. Satellites just don't orbit, they observe. They track what we can't see on the ground. They collect the data that tells us the truth about our climate. Even as a student, I see how this field is evolving. Engineering are designing cleaner aircraft, building systems that reduce emissions, developing tools that help us act smarter, faster, and better. I may not have all the answer yet, but I'm learning. And I'm now waiting until I graduate to start caring. Because even now, I know that every step forward matters. I want others my age to see that we don't have to be experts to make difference. We just have to care. We just have to try. Aerospace isn't just about looking up. It's about looking back at Earth and making sure there's something beautiful to come home to.
Hi, my name is Choi, and I'm a general studies STEM major focused on biological science. Climate change is not just something I learned about in school anymore. It's something I see and feel in real life. From rising heat to unpredictable weather, it's clear our planet is changing. And honestly, it's scary. But it also motivates me to be part of the solution. As someone passionate about biology, I understand how climate change disrupts natural systems, harming biodiversity, weakening ecosystems, and increasing the spread of disease. It's not just polar ice melting, it's pollinators vanishing, coral reefs dying, and people losing access to clean resources. My studies help me unpack these issues, using data, science, and innovation to push for sustainable solutions. Because climate change is not just a science problem, it's a group project. But unfortunately, not everyone is doing their part, and we all have a role to play. Whether it's teaching, running a business, designing spaces, or building technology, we each carry a responsibility to do better for our planet. We are not just preparing for the future, we are shaping it. That means helping people understand climate change across all demographics and raising awareness in ways that connect to everyday life. Scientific knowledge helps break down the complex system behind climate change, offering insight through data analysis, environmental monitoring, and sustainable innovations. Digital storytelling creates space to share personal stories, visualize data, and highlight perspectives that often go unnoticed, making climate change feel more personal and real. It also means making choices that are thoughtful, intentional, and rooted in care. Together, if we lead with purpose and hope, we can build a more sustainable world, one that the next generation can be proud to call home.